The year-end stats are here, and with active listings rising, what does that mean for prices? Are prices coming down further? Stay tuned and watch this video as we dive into the December 2024 Toronto real estate market update. Okay, before I dive in, please like this video, subscribe to this channel. It really helps the algorithms. Comment below. We love getting feedback and questions, so by all means, please do so and help this channel. All right, so December 2024, as I mentioned last month, there was a very important series of mortgage rule changes that were coming into play in mid-month. Now, that did have a very interesting impact on the market. It doesn't fully reflect on what I'm about to dive into, but basically what happened December 15th is that we saw the increase in CMHC insurable mortgages. So anyone who was getting a high ratio mortgage of 20% down payment or less had greater ability to stretch your down payment and purchase at a higher price point, and also to extended amortizations were also an option for new purchases. So those two things have helped ease affordability. There's actually a third thing that I wanted to point out too, is that I was doing some calculations, and we had, with our most recent interest rate drop, excluding the amortization changes, that mortgage amortization changes I just referenced, buying power has increased by 13% for buyers. So what we're noticing is actually a very interesting dynamic in this market, and I'm going to dive into that as we share some of these numbers. But when we're looking at sales volume, I think for me, it's a really important metric to look at in, what I call peak market times, like spring and fall. Like in December, numbers are flat, down 1.8%. I mean, it doesn't really make a huge difference. It doesn't tell me that the market is healthy or unhealthy. When I look at the spring, I want to see strong volumes. I want to see better than year before volumes, because last year was a really weaker spring market. So that gives me health. So this doesn't really tell me much, but again, just diving into this, it's flat. Active listings, though, paints a very different story. Like, active listings rose sharply. We're at roughly 15,000 for the end of December, which is quite high. What I'm seeing is there's a lot of condominium inventory that is still sitting on the market. Months of inventory is increasing ever so slightly, so that's not helping. So there's certainly weakness in the condo market right now. In the freehold market, it's a little bit different, certainly at the entry level price point. So what I mean by entry level is in a neighborhood, typically, we're not talking about the luxury end, but in a specific neighborhood, you might have a varied style of properties. Now, entry level is the cheapest in a given neighborhood. So, if you're looking at Bloor West, for example, that might be a semi-detached, Bloor West, or in the Danforth, as an example, could be a semi-detached or a townhouse. Like, so those markets are quite active. I mean, there's not a lot on the market currently. I'm recording this in mid-January, but what I'm seeing is the freehold market is still very much in demand. Like, we're not seeing a return to crazy bidding wars as we were 2 or 3 years ago, but we are seeing certainly confidence in that market. Condo market, on the other hand, is not confident, in the sense that, really the only buyer pool that's buying currently are end users, where, historically, investors made up anywhere between 50 to 60% of the buyer pool. They're not as strong now, right? So that's playing an important part in the market. Now, will that continue? I think that's really interest rate driven. So the lower the rates get, the more palatable this becomes from an investment standpoint, specifically cash flow. And so that'll help investors as we move forward. So anyways, average price. So average price is actually down 1.6%. So again, not a huge swing. And when anyone asks me like how prices are doing year over year, like, I effectively say they're flat, but it depends on the asset type that you're looking at. Like, interestingly, like, semi-detaches are up much higher than a detached comparable. And that goes further to my point that I just made earlier, where the entry level freeholds are performing better, or are the best performing class of assets for the Toronto real estate market right now. But continue, I have no idea. I think really, but this is a small snapshot in time. And I think as we have an interest rate decision that's coming up, and once we see further clarification from the Bank of Canada, if we see what their guidance is with respect to further rate drops, I think that's going to have a material impact on the broader sense of the market, not just entry level freeholds, but mid market, luxury, and also the condominium segments, whether that's the starter condos or even the larger 2 and 3 bedroom type of style. So again, that's really a discussion for the next couple months. But January and February aren't going to tell us very much. It gives us some clues and hints, but that's really what we're looking at. I'm really looking at this from a micro lens here. So so average prices. So from month over month, we're looking at November to December, they're down 3.5%. That sounds like a lot, and really in a vacuum it is, but this is fairly typical, even in a very robust real estate market, that prices typically decline as we get into December, and and then we see a little bit of an uptick come in January. And why is that? Well, it's the end of the year. In December, when buyers are buying or sellers are selling, everyone's focused on the holidays and getting ready for those, and then real estate becomes very much a secondary thought. And so there's some actually pretty good discounts available if you're looking to buy in December. And if I have active buyers, I'm always telling them that December is always a great time to purchase. And same thing with January, because a lot of people are distracted and busy getting back to work and back into routines in the new year. All right, so we're going to be recording a predictions video. So the next video we're going to be sending out in the next week or two is going to be a 2025 market predictions video. So stay tuned for that. We're really excited about sharing our predictions. I was actually looking back at my predictions last year, and I got 6 out of the 7 real estate predictions correct. So stay tuned for this year's prediction video coming up in the next couple of weeks. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next month for the Toronto real estate market update. Thanks again.